Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Welcome to Upside DIY. So right here is just the main footage of pretty much some of the weatherproofing. I'm sorting out some of my bags. I've got this more of a recreational, I want to try to camouflage. I have some khakis right here, wear some camouflage pants, and more of my camouflage setup situated. I've got sifters and things. I'm gonna try to do a lot of stuff during the daytime, but there's so much. YouTube, welcome to Upside DIY. So, do you guys think this matches? I don't want to. It's kind of a mess over here, but this the green part. I made the beige. There's the green, and I have some of the dark brown. Other items for painting or weatherproofing, but I need to get into because there's a couple of random jars of paint. Basically, this one is more of a gray. I'm assuming there's going to be another that I've kind of saved up. I'm gonna basically I could add water and reuse this. So what this paint is actually is the really lighter uh, beige, they will call it. So I'm gonna use just whatever paints. And I might keep this. I really want to use. I've got to paint a couple of things, but I think I'm going to. I just need to get stuff like forks, plastic forks to mix this stuff up. I might even keep, just a few these main jars just as the needing more paint somewhere else. So I kind of source out a few things, but I got a few cans. This stuff might be more smoother, so I want to use a little bit of water on the old stuff, get it a little more fluid and things. And have another clean. Want to try to use pretty much my old paint. But I do have a couple cans, probably, and then a couple more of the older paints. I just want to try to check some of these. I've got a can opener and stuff, just to make sure, you know, and stuff for other things. But I think I've got enough. So they opened up the other two jars. One was empty, so I'm gonna be trying to. And I found two more cans of paint. I'm gonna be trying to use up as much as I can. And these, close to what I'm looking for. This has a little bit of a dot on it, so I could pretty much So just made, if you got a belt or even a pipe wrench, let's go over, everything, kind of vlogging everything. So I needed to get this open to mix up some of the camouflage paint. Hopefully it's the right color, but this is how you kind of make a makeshift lashing. And so the next video. Alright, so this is where I could prep up a little bit of the paint. I got a nice kind of clean up. I have a rag or sock right there. And this up and see what I could do with it. Alright, so I mixed it up a good amount, for a minute or two. This and that. Yeah, definitely. All right, here is more water-based with some of the green glue and white silicone, stuff like that, which is pretty good for paint, just to help bond. So I poured most of the water. I didn't get all this stuff at the bottom, and I'm not even gonna worry about using every part. Dealing with mixing paint and having something usable. I mean, all the particles and stuff and dry paint, it's on a different compared to just the main to make like a really nice green. I'm trying to make, well, I got this as the dark brown, and then I'm just trying to make a really light, semi-light green. This and that. Most of these smaller jars, but different jars, these are practically going to be the main jars. And then I got a piece of newspaper, but Pretty sure I kind of prepped them. That one, you know, I kind of try to use rubbing alcohol to sanitize on the inside, but that's just how it goes. So it's a no-brainer, you know, if you're an amateur at this, and then you know you just dump it in through here, and then it's a good job for now. So all right, so I poured in as much as but for now I'm just transferring the dark brown. All right, so I switched over the funnel. So the one that I just filled up is kind of right there. I could basically cover it for now, and then seal at the very last part. It helps with the lid not sticking too much, and also probably adding the corrosion and things after. So I'm here trying to remind myself where I'm pouring from. So there's the wet spot. Alright, so I filled it up as much as possible without really like clogging the funnel and things like that. Using a good paintbrush would be good. So these are the khakis, and that's just 2 pairs of shorts, just some medium thickness. It's not double layered or anything, and 2 pairs of pants. So I'm gonna try to paint these with. First, I'm gonna use 2 cans of just this is a dark brown and a gray, and then if I can mix in white, I'll have 2 colors. I'll have this dark brown. I have the kind of light, kind of green, and then I just opened that jar of beige. So it's pretty much colors like this. So hopefully it works. You know, just sorting out some of the paint in the can. I might even use old paints from those I'm working on so far. I need to mix this up to make sure it's kind of like the beige color. It may not be. I'm not 100% sure. There's all types of stuff. Sure, but as much as I can mix up, just because one, it's in a tough bottle. So hopefully, like, I don't mess it up too much, but I can always mix a little bit of the white and the yellow. Hopefully, so I'm gonna just try to get as much of this out of this just yet. So I could do 2 things. I actually found a spray can of this yellow, or use this one. I'm doing a lot of stuff, most of this indoors, so I'm gonna basically have to use this. Alright, so I just opened up the can with the paint opener, and I'm gonna try to pre-mix it, and then just try to put enough in here. It might be a real full one. So I basically had a spark kind of sitting, so I might have to put enough of this paint spare jar with some white, which I'm probably going to do. Alright, so I dumped some inside the jar so you guys can see. Got another stir stick or popsicle stick, and now I'm going to try to go 50-50 with this other mixed up stuff, and hopefully I get a good beige, basically, just to start over on just as much as of which I put in there. But you know, it looks pretty cool. I think the thing is, you know, the jar, the original jar that I was using, you know, it's going to start trying to mix, I think, and yeah, it's working a little bit. I kind of mixed it like 50%, and I wanted 50%, but it ended up as probably 25% of the beige. I'm not even sure. I kind of look inside the jar, but there's some of the white. It's not that great. It's not happening. You know, pretty much depending on, just might have to put everything like this, and hopefully this works. May or may not. So I'm gonna have to keep experimenting. It's good. It's creating quite of a issue with just working and not working. So I'm gonna have to, you know, just use what I have and basically go back and forth to get a good sample, basically. So this is working okay, I think. Another thing with airbrush, or when I'm painting the khakis, basically, it's lacquer thinner, like some lacquer thinner. You could Google it, like perfect airbrush type of paint. Just lacquer thinner. It's also acetone, and it's also the paint to actually, just have a fluid paint. Useful, but no, I think I'm going to just keep it as this for now. Um, just pretty much have. I'm just going to mix up some paint, basically. I really don't know what to do after. Um, so. So yeah, that's a pretty good. So I'll kind of put this back. And then I have a couple of other cans that is kind of like the last part, and I need to. I'll probably have to fill this up. I could use this stir stick and stir the gray. But working from, again, but just using a plastic, piece of plastic, a rubber band, clean water, cleaning this up. I basically with these jars, mainly use it for just storing extra filter floss like that, but just this right. And basically, yeah, transferring the funnel, and I mainly want to get this stuff sorted out. This one at least, and then I could bring this into, the sorting and cleaning stuff. So you kind of see all the stuff that I'm recovering. So I'm using the funnel, and then it's basically trying to funnel out more of the fluid cleaner stuff in there. And there's some of the dark brown, and so I actually dumped everything. So I'm gonna use the slurry stuff, rinse this off, and keep trying to do the same thing. So it's not the greatest plan or anything, but I think it's good enough. Working with paint and thinners wise, and kind of upcycling whatever I could and using up, man. So I'm just going to use this dirty, or this jar, and then just get this funnel out of the way. So yeah, so I got this out. So kind of put that right there. Most of this stuff is already used up and things like that. Right here, just a nice amount of space in that jar. I'm going to put this there. Basically, just trying to get to mixing up everything, but I eliminated a lot of my jars and paint, so I got these two. I'm probably going to add some paint thinner, just whatever's in that jar, just to top. This gray is just going to be the control, since it's a really good. I mean, I've got pretty much a whole gallon of extra gray somewhere, and this and that. I've got extra yellow, gray, but just whatever's in this jar and stuff, and this stir stick. Don't want to be too picky, just because just extra stuff, but mainly the white, the dark brown. And I also have, so this gray, I have extra dark brown, I have yellow, so hopefully, and then yeah, so now just kind of just going to clean up right before this last pour. So that's trying to fill up the rest of the jar and stuff. And it's turning out to be a pretty nice green. I'm going to use the, this jar to actually, clean up the funnel, this and that, clean up the funnel, this and that. So I've got this funnel filtered out, filtering things. The dark brown and all that stuff. So this is really what I've got. I think it's almost